go. Fit 21. What is Fit 21? Is that like the financial innovation and technology for the 21st century? Is that what that is? Or is that completely off? Fit sounds like fit, getting fit, but it's a Fit 21 crypto bill passes. What does it pass? Passes the House. You know who else accepts crypto, Bitcoin, XRP for their political campaign? Trump. That's who. The true crypto president, and that is Donald Trump, embracing crypto, unlike the resident. You know who else embraces crypto? John Deaton, taking on Elizabeth Warren. Today, we are going to talk about the crypto politicians. We're going to dig in deep into what this crypto bill means. Is it going to advance cryptocurrency and innovation, or does it die in the Senate, or does it get vetoed? If it passes the Senate, it gets vetoed by the resident. We are going to talk about that. We're going to workshop it, and we're going to talk about what all the hype is on all those other YouTube channels hyping up the Fit 21 crypto bill.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome everybody to On the Chain. What's going on? This Fit bill. So, man, I mean, it's pandemonium in the crypto world. Right? I mean, I've seen it everywhere. The Bitcoin, everyone's like pretty excited about it, right?
I'm not so excited.
Not so much the Bitcoiners, because they're like, we are already decentralized.
That's right.
Clarity
is number one, and there is no other.
But this constant harassing with Gary Gensler or the SEC, nonstop harassing of companies trying to do the right thing. But we got some videos to break down. They're short ones, but kind of gets to the just the meat of what they're saying. So in the House of Representatives today, before they vote on the bill, they were actually trying to sort of workshop it a little bit, and the Democrats got up and said why it was horrible and it was the end of the world and it was just ridiculously bad. And then the Republicans got up and said, and the adults in the room actually got up and talked about all the things we talk about for the last 5-6 years. That's right. And why it's a good thing. So I thought that was but let's watch a couple of these videos. Guys, drop where you're coming in from. I see everybody's popping in right now. It is that time. Eric Garcia, good to see you. Emma's in here. Tommy Deltone's in here. Naren's in here. Good morning. Or is it good for XRP or not? Well, it is good. It's good for all of crypto, actually. Although it comes back to Jeff's original statement. We'll see what happens. But let's watch these 3 videos. Now, we can watch more, but let's just watch the 3 people that are like the biggest anti-crypto, at least a couple of the anti-crypto ones. So we'll start off with the rep from Massachusetts. Now you're thinking it's Elizabeth Warren, but it's not. Elizabeth Warren is a senator. This is from the House. So let's watch this and let's see what this guy has to say about this bill. I'm wondering, is he going to say it's a good bill? Let's listen in.
Technology and inclusion.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank the gentlelady for yielding me this time. Mr. Chairman, I've been a member of Congress for over 20 years, and I just want to say that this is probably...
So he's going to say it's going to be a great bill. I can feel it. He's a Democrat from Massachusetts. He sits on the committee. He's probably going to say it's an awesome bill, right? That's what I'm thinking. He's probably going to say that.
One of the worst. It may not be the worst, but it's in the top 3 in terms of the worst bills that I have seen actually progress to this.
In 20 years, he thinks this is the worst bill that's progressed to the floor. The guy who sits on the committee for digital assets, Jeff. I don't understand. Where did you go, by the way? I don't even know where you are. The worst one.
To the floor of the House. Anybody who was excited about this bill.
I don't know. You were just sitting at the bottom. I don't know how you get kicked out.
Got kicked out. Out.
This is Jeff, of all the bills. So these giant omnibus bills they pass where you're funding another country's protection of their borders, that wasn't the worst bill. No. I mean, so any of these other bills that they've been passing in the dead of night, going back for 20 years he's been there. Not the Obamacare. That wasn't a bad bill. This is the worst bill, probably one of the worst bills he's ever seen, Jeff. And he sits on the committee. That's the
worst bill ever.
Imagine being a Democrat sitting on that committee, and this is what you have to say about it.
Man.
Bill either has not read it or does not understand it.
Not understand it. Does
I
not
mean, you're from
understand it.
Massachusetts. You're not from the South. Why you talk like you're from the South with that? You
Not
don't
read it
understand.
and do
Well,
not
Jeff, we've read it.
understand it. You
We've
do
read it
not
here. We've
understand
breaking it down, as have many
it. Not
people.
understand it.
It's a fantastic bill.
It's
I
a
read it
decent bill.
and I understood it. Right?
This bill is a radical rewrite of
Radical.
the securities
Wow.
laws in this country.
See, that's where he went off. See, this is why these people have mental illness. First of all, there's one reason, right? So, first of all, he says it's a radical rewrite of the securities laws. Well, no, it's actually not. What it is it's definitive. It's differentiating digital assets
Mhm.
from securities, and digital assets that are decentralized. This guy probably has no clue. I mean, he's
He
an old
doesn't know
guy.
what he's talking about.
You think
No.
he knows what decentralization is? No, he
Probably
has no
not.
idea. So, the first off, he's has the wrong assumption that almost
Right off
all
the bat.
digital assets that are decentralized, they're commodities. They are not securities. But he thinks this whole bill is about rewriting the securities laws, because he's from the Gary Gensler camp that thinks that every single digital asset is a security. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else could I possibly say about that, Jeff?
Yeah. What else are you going to say? What can he say
A
about
lynch.
this?
A lynch mob. There you go,
The
right
lynch
there.
mob.
That's a good one. A lynch mob. What's going on, Mr. Bullish, Mr. K? Bullish Week, brothers and sisters. Yes, we shall. Sophie's in here. Watch the whole thing. Good for you. So here we go.
It's crazy.
As
Crazy.
most people who know our history realize that in 1929, when the markets crashed, we established the Securities and Exchange Commission in 1934, shortly after the crash. And what that did is it created an agency that became the cop on the beat in financial services.
Cop on the beat. See,
Let's go back to 1934, Mr. Lynch mob. Did they know anything about digital assets? Was that even a thing? Did they even know computers would be invented, Jeff? I mean, it's so tiring, isn't it?
and this goes back. So you think about, the bill references the Securities Act of 1933, kind of created an underlying, concept of what needs to be amended for. And I mean, it's a really in-depth bill. It covers a lot. You know what it doesn't have? It doesn't have any fat. There's no fat, 0 fat in this bill. So typically when a bill gets through Congress, they pack it with all sorts of fat. And you know what Lynch likes? He likes fat. He likes to pack his bill with all sorts of garbage junk that has nothing whatsoever to do with the topic. And this one establishes a proper regulatory framework for digital assets. Right there. And so think about it, he's going back to 1929.
Jeff, Sophie says that's probably the year he was born.
That's yeah, exactly.
Good one.
So I mean, it's really crazy, but here we're also looking at how the CFTC, which is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and the SEC will now kind of get together. And how do you manage a digital asset? How do you differentiate a digital asset from a security? And here, is the key points of a bill that's creating the first time an actual framework for understanding how to operate and recognize and understand what you're doing in the space. And this guy, Lynch. Doesn't like it. It's the worst, not just a bad bill. It's the worst bill in 20 years.
He's seen. That's the frightening part of it. And you're right. I didn't think about that. It is a clean bill. Not too many clean bills actually get passed without them. And what else is weird? See, the other thing is that the White House put an official statement out that was very cleverly worded. Like, if the fit bill, blah, 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 like they left it kind of open to interpretation that we may not oppose it. Right. Now, what they're going to do is, when it gets to the Senate, they're going to crush this bill. They're going to put in so much garbage that it's going to basically delete what this bill stands for, because that's what's going to happen, right? So because the House of Representatives is run by the Republicans, they're not going to allow that. But in the Senate, which they're going to just stuff it. They're going to kill the bill. Let's face it. I would be shocked if they didn't. But what this does signify, Jeff, is that it's an election cycle. Nancy Pelosi voted in favor. So here's what happens. The Democrats, you had a lot of Democrats voting for this, right? Because it's a tough election cycle, razor thin margins. This is a massive issue, and they're finding out it's a massive issue. So Nancy Pelosi votes for it because if Biden vetoes it, she has cover. Oh, I was all for it. I don't know why he vetoed it, right?
Yep.
It's a game, man. This is how it works. This is how they play. And the only reason the Republicans waited until now to do it, it's an election cycle, and they know it's a big image, right? They know it's a big thing. Let's listen to the rest of this dope.
They became the protectors of investors. And since that time in 1934, as courts have interpreted that law that is protecting investors, we've built up a body of case law that now makes the United States financial markets the most robust, and they become the marvel of the world. Everyone comes to the United States for investment because they know that their investment is protected and they will be treated fairly in the courts because we have well-defined laws. Well, this bill undoes all of that. This bill is a radical rewriting of the securities laws since 1934. It redefines what a security is. It allows
not really.
By the way, it does no such thing, by the way.
It's not even
rewrite the security
financial companies to
and good night.
Escape the cop on the beat. So now they can leave the jurisdiction of the SEC and go over to the CFTC, which has a fraction of, it's about 6 times as small as the SEC. So what will happen here is you'll see a migration of companies going out from under the SEC jurisdiction over the CFTC.
Right.
And this will cause havoc in our financial markets eventually.
Eventually.
The one amendment I would have liked to see on this bill is that any company that becomes insolvent because of their involvement with crypto cannot receive a taxpayer bailout, because that's where this bill is heading. This is going to cause infirmity in the financial institutions of this country.
Enough of this guy.
What?
I gotta stop this guy. She's too much.
Why would he want to put that in the bill, that a crypto specific couldn't get a taxpayer bailout? Why not just all companies?
Well, the Democrats just built out another
bailout.
They just bailed out about another $4 billion, $1 million, whatever it was, for student loans, which was
for these stupid kids that are taking stupid college courses.
I mean,
that will get them no job.
If you majored in gender studies, I'm sorry, that's not my problem. I don't care if you own 60 grand for that. That's you. You took out a loan, you got to pay it back. Why would you want taxpayers to pay your loans? Someone from NBC today, Jeff, asked the press secretary, well, how come other people wouldn't be getting a check? What about plumbers? What about, teachers? What about other people out there that, how come, why aren't they somebody? Why wouldn't people get $35,000 up to $35,000 to do what they want to do with it, right? If you're just giving money out, trying to buy votes, why not?
Exactly.
All right, Jeff.
Here's Poker Mope actually brings up a good point. Was thinking a positive vote on FIT bill in the House would actually help the markets. Not sure why after 6 years in crypto, I still get my hopes up.
We all do.
And how crazy, all that little positivity. And you're like, you know what? I feel good. I feel like,
don't worry.
It's going to bring us, let's see, 2017. So we're like 7 years in. So yeah, 6-7 years. So this is going to get us through to the next 6 or 7 years. So in 2030, when we're sitting here doing the podcast, and we're talking about the next second bill that gets passed through Congress.
The second bill. We're still talking about the first bill, Jeff.
In favor of crypto.
Here we go. So let's listen to this one. And then I'm saving the Sherminator for last. He's going to be the icing on the cake, right?
Sherminator.
Here we go.
Himself, who confirmed.
This is Maxine Waters. She was the former chair of this committee who sat on the token taxonomy that Warren Davidson authored back in 2018.
Right.
It never got on committee.
Let's
see, Maxine. Let's see. How do you feel about this bill? Let's see how she feels about it.
Chair Gary Gensler himself, who confirmed in a recent statement regarding this bill that it would have a broader impact on traditional securities. Interestingly, I don't hear any arguments from the Republicans at the Rules Committee hearing disputing that this would in fact be a regulatory no man's land, even if they insist it's just for crypto. Even for crypto, that would be transferred over to the CFTC. I have serious concerns about the loss of protections for consumers and investors. The CFTC is generally designed to deal with sophisticated institutional investors and traders. It doesn't have the same kind of protections that the SEC has for retail investors and consumers.
Yeah, well, that's all we have for Maxine. But Jeff, they really did a good job of protecting everybody when they filed that lawsuit, and $15 billion was erased from people's portfolios like overnight. I mean, sure.
So, I look at that. I'm trying to figure out, like, what is it that they hate about this bill? And then I realize it's really nothing in the bill that they hate. They love everything about the bill. Right? The bill, it's a perfect bill. What they hate is the fact that it gives the retail investors, the unsophisticated. See how she said the CFTC is reserved for the sophisticated investor, right? For the institutional, the sophisticated. But the SEC is there to protect the unsophisticated investor. But what they're really saying is they want to keep oppressing you, and they want to keep you poor, and they want to keep manipulating you. They want to keep controlling you, and they want to make sure that you don't have any opportunities to invest like the sophisticated investor that gets to invest pre-IPO, that gets to do a lot of different things with their money that on the retail side, you get kind of the breadcrumb leftovers. And not to say you can't make a whole bunch of money on the retail side when you're investing. However, the ways of things kind of progress and roll out, it makes it a bit more difficult. You're not privy to certain things, and they also don't like the decentralized aspect.
No, that's a big threat.
But that's not in here, So I think that, well, even though it's right here, the SEC must regulate a digital asset as a security if its associated blockchain is functional but not decentralized. However, the bill establishes certain exceptions. The SEC regulation for digital assets that limit annual sales, restrict non-accredited investor access, and satisfy disclosure and compliance requirement. The bill also sets forth requirements for primary and secondary market transactions. And that the whole point here also is that it now becomes the CFTC and the SEC must jointly issue rules to define terms and exempt dually registered exchanges from duplicative rules. And it really, and then you get into what the CFTC is going to do, and then you look at, this animosity they have towards the retail investor. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Look, BC says, who wrote the bill for you, Waters? What do you think? Gary Gensler. His name was mentioned about 6 times in that. Gary Gensler said this, and Gary Gensler said that.
Gary Gensler.
Did she blow if he was there, she would have blown him a kiss.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Pelosi voted in favor.
All right, Jeff. We saved the best for last. This is Brad Sherman out of California, who doesn't understand much. The funny thing is like he's as goofy as he sounds, and everything's like perfect with this guy. He looks like a nut job. He is pretty much a nut job. Well, let's listen to what Brad Sherman, the Sherminator, has to say.
Sherminator.
Finally, crypto declares that it wants to partially displace the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. If it's
okay, he's been watching too much of the influencers. He's been watching too much of the
wait a minute.
XRP videos. Right?
Crypto declared
it's going to become
declares it
reserve currency of the United States. This guy's off his rocker. It's going to be see. I mean, he's a weirdo, man. Like,
he's definitely a little bit of a weirdo.
Crypto declares it's going to be. I mean, is this guy watching too much of those influencers with a lot of follower accounts? It's the reserve currency, Jeff. Man. It's going to be. Crypto declared it. It has to be true. Let's listen to it. I know it's low volume, but somebody recorded out their TV, but this is a nut job.
30 additional seconds.
The gentleman's recognized. You have to understand how important it is.
Yeah, it's like crypto declared. That was the only that we had. That's enough from him. That's all we need to
Yeah,
have.
Ranjan. Man, we haven't seen Ranjan
Oh,
come in here
been
for a
while,
long
yeah.
time.
Other two's in
Man,
here as well. Look at that, man.
Came
Oh,
back to say what's up and shout out for Fit 21.
yay, yay, yay.
That's right.
Yay on Fit 21. Okay, we listened enough of that. Now let's hear some pro crypto, okay? Because that was
Bullish
enough.
Mr. K, what is up?
Looks like I'm whopping on Scooby Stacks. That's gotta love this chat here. Well, I've got a lot of them here, but let's start off with the man, the myth, the legend, Warren Davidson, who authored the token taxonomy back in 2018. Has been a stand for it ever since. Of course, we have Tom Emmer up next, but let's listen to yeah, it was.
Yeah, very cringe.
Yeah, you always go like, ooh, you make that face, right? Okay, let's listen into
another one.
Oh,
Look at that.
Wow, what the
Another
heck?
one
It's
coming
been a
in.
while. My
Everyone
God.
just popping
Did
in.
you guys get alerts? What happened? Did our alerts actually go out for the first time ever?
The alerts went out for the first time ever.
Holy cow. Incredible. There you go.
Is in strong support of this long overdue legislation. It builds on the framework that my colleagues and I have worked on for at least 6 years, beginning with the Token Taxonomy Act in 2018. Its core is a bright line test to define what digital assets are securities regulated by the SEC and which are commodities under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. Innovators and investors will no longer risk their freedom and their fortunes by simply launching a company and raising capital. The law will be clear and regulation by selective enforcement must end. Additionally, and perhaps most notably, this bill also provides first ever federal level protection for self-custody of digital assets. This protection, which is very intentional, mirrors my Keep Your Coins Act, and it's a giant step towards restoring the right to privacy and private property, protecting permissionless transactions using digital assets. In an account-based financial system where Americans must rely on intermediaries, self-custody provides the only protection against third parties controlling the individual's transactions. Further
Right, Jeff?
The only.
He's spot on right here. This is a guy who speaks for freedom, baby. This is all about freedom. You saw what the leftists think. Control, censorship, bad. We want to own you. You're not smart enough to make your own investments to the adults in the room.
Custody provides the first line of consumer protection where individuals can eliminate third-party liabilities who hold their assets. For too long, we have pushed innovation and investment in digital asset projects overseas as Congress has constantly failed to bring the clarity that we need. We finally have the chance to end this trend and solidify ourselves as the leaders in this industry. I urge the Senate to quickly take up this bipartisan legislation and send it back to the President's desk as soon as possible. Please vote yes. I yield back. I rise in strong.
What do you think about that, Jeff?
Strong statement. He brought up, this is a big bill. It's the exact 180-degree perspective from what we heard in the beginning from Lynch. Drastically different.
Well, he also defined it too. He defined it perfectly with one sentence.
Yep.
The SEC regulates, he's clearly distinguishing the difference. The SEC regulates securities. The CFTC regulates commodities. Decentralized assets are commodities. And then he talks about the fact, and what was interesting there without him saying it, he sort of said it. He sort of implied that if you were involved, if you purchased assets off of FTX, if you had them self-custodied, so what? Fair game, right? They're still on the blockchain. So he kind of felt like there was that underlying thing of hey, this self-custody to keep your coins, this whole idea of keeping it makes a lot of sense here, Jeff. I want to go into the comments here, see what we have here. So odds passing the Senate signed off, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, here's the weird thing about it, right? Because so many Democrats voted for, because Nancy Pelosi, who was just a little over a year and a half ago, she was the Speaker of the House. I do feel like they're trying to buy some cover. There's nothing wrong with voting for something if you know it's going to get vetoed. It buys you a little bit of goodwill, makes you look good, and takes the heat off your back. Right. So I kind of feel like, but a lot more Democrats voted for this bill. Like you'd expect Richie Torres, you'd expect a couple of the Democrats to vote for it. But I didn't expect that. Jeff, you want to pull up the that last tweet in the Keep there has the let me see if it's in there. I think it has the actual. Yeah, I think it is. Here, let me pull this up. Let's see if I can add this here. This actually has, and I was kind of shocked that more people voted for it. Man, what screen is it? I don't know what screen it is. Oh, I believe it's this one. We'll find out. Is it this one? Yeah. So look at that right there. So there it is right there. Republicans 208, Democrats 203, total 411, right? Oh wait, this is not right. Is this Is this the right one? No.
No, it's not it.
No, this is Ralph Norton. Jeff, find the right one. This is a different amendment. Something different here.
All right, let's look it up.
Fine. Yeah, look it up. Look up.
Let's look it up.
Because I think there were like 30 Democrats that voted for it.
Yeah.
See, that's what it is.
Yeah, see.
So
got FIFA 2021.
Yeah, let's see what it was. You can find that vote. But anyway, while you're looking for that,
Interesting poll. I got a poll rolling. Does Fit 21 pass the Senate? And we'll pull that down here in a minute, and we'll see what the outcome is of everybody that's watching right now. If you see the poll, go ahead and vote yes or no. Does Fit 21 pass the Senate? It's going to be an interesting outcome. Right now, the yeses have it by 75%. That means 76%. 24% of those voting do not believe it's going to pass the Senate.
There you go. So now let's go over to... Let's start out with Patrick McHenry, who's the chair of the committee. Let's hear what he has to say about this bill.
Congress will establish a new high water mark for digital asset policy.
After Patrick McHenry.
To be clear, this joint effort between the Financial Services Committee and the Agriculture Committee did not come together overnight. Far from it. We've formed subcommittees, convened working groups, heard from countless stakeholders, and received input from members across the ideological spectrum in the House of Representatives. Last July, we passed the Bipartisan Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, FIT 21, out of our respective committees. Each step in this process has created a new high water mark. The next step will be a broad bipartisan vote today to finally provide the robust consumer protections and clear regulatory framework established by this bill. FIT 21 will cement the United States' global leadership in technological innovation, invention, and adoption. Unfortunately, our current regulatory framework is preventing digital assets innovation from reaching its full potential. The SEC and the CFTC are currently in a food fight for control of these asset classes. They've created an impossible situation where the same firms are subject to competing and contradictory enforcement actions by the two different agencies, leaving consumers behind, leaving innovators behind. FIT 21 fixes this by creating a regulatory framework that will provide clear rules of the road and strong guardrails for the Americans engaging with the digital asset ecosystem. At its core, FIT 21 applies time-tested consumer protections to ensure the 20% of Americans who engage in the digital asset ecosystem can do so safely, and so more Americans can engage as well. Today, we have the opportunity to answer the calls of consumers, digital asset innovators, and the Biden administration. We can establish the next high watermark for digital assets here in the United States. I urge my colleagues to support consumer protection, innovation, and American leadership by voting for FIT 21.
There you go. Vote.
Spot on, Jeff. I mean, it's just so funny to hear the contradiction of thought here, where you've got four making a lot of sense. And one of the things I liked what he did there was he named three things. First, we talked about innovators, he talked about investors, and he also talked about the Biden administration. And he talked about the bipartisanship, right? So he kind of like threw a sort of a olive branch over to the Dems and said, hey, all comes down to you guys, man. It comes down to how's it gonna roll. And the Biden administration, please vote. They did vote, and that's what ended up happening. Next up, we have none other than Tom Emmer, who's also been on the broadcast here, who's also been a very strong stand for digital assets decentralization. So let's hear what Tom has to say.
Before you put him up, the poll 80. So we had 28 people voted. 85% said yes, 14% said no. And that is, does the FIT Oh wait, no, sorry, that's what's going on right now. Oh no, yeah, no, that was it. So that's does the fit pass the Senate? 85 yes, 14 no. There's a new poll. I just put it up. Does, and so the poll is, does Biden, the resident, veto Fit 21 if it passes the Senate? Right now we're sitting at 75 are saying yes, 25 no. So we'll let that sit there for a little bit through these next videos, and we'll see what the outcome is.
I like the optimism. I really like the optimism. But let's listen to what Tom Emmer has to say about this.
That's
Matt right there. Let's see what he gets. He's going to get on a groove here.
Today, we have an opportunity to determine whether the next iteration of the internet will be designed by Americans or if it will instead reflect the values of some other nation. The Fit 21 Act gives us that opportunity and unlocks a larger conversation beyond innovation. This bill is about national security. It's about consumer protection. It's about global competitiveness. It's about shaping what the future global digital economy looks like and how it functions. Currently, all online transactions are intermediated. But as we move deeper into the digital age, digital assets are key to decentralizing the internet so Americans can transact directly with each other. Now, no intermediary needed. Without crypto.
Uh-oh. Elizabeth Warren's angry right now because, you know, after hearing that, don't need an intermediary, Jeff, can transact.
Intermediary.
Well, what do you think that means? I mean, she doesn't like that. She wants to protect. I mean, I'm telling you.
So we don't have this ability. And I think giving Americans the choice to do business through an intermediary or directly with each other is important. Having that choice will fundamentally alter the digital economy, unlocking new opportunities for Americans and individuals across the world in ways we haven't even begun to contemplate. However, this Congress can no longer stand by as regulators squander this opportunity right within our grasp. This administration has demonstrated they simply are not willing to allow the digital asset industry to innovate in the United States. For every legal inconsistency or regulatory hurdle they produce, instead of coherent and informed guidance, they drive American digital asset users into less safe jurisdictions. That's why the Fit 21 Act is significant, to set clear and consistent rules for American innovators. Among the many important provisions in this bill is My Securities Clarity Act, bipartisan language tailored specifically to digital assets that provides the legal flexibility for a digital asset project to transition from centralization to decentralization. This transition is critical to the future peer-to-peer digital economy, and I thank the chairman and my friends on the other side of the aisle for working with me to incorporate this section into the bill today. Their work on this extensive framework will allow Americans to once again lead the way. I yield back.
Congress will establish.
So that sounds a little bit like safe harbor that crypto mom, you know,
very
that safe harbor, she said it was
Very
originally 3 years to be able to eventually become decentralized, right? And you know, if that had been the case too, that might have saved the ETH and all that too. But we'll see. I mean, this is again, he's right on. He's talked about him, you know, a little bit of criticism came down a little bit hard there. I would have been a little bit maybe more positive, but he made a good point. There's just a lot of negative stuff going on here. I mean, it's insane to watch that.
You notice we both have collared shirts on.
Just weird, Jeff, because we almost never do. You know, it's weird. What are you gonna do, man? I keep sneezing over here. It's horrible, man.
Hopefully you're not getting what I had.
No, it's just this is like an allergy thing. No, not gonna get what you had. Not gonna do it. Not
so,
gonna do it.
Man, I went to urgent care yesterday. Finally,
Did you?
Sinus infection.
Oh, another one.
Yep. It was so bad. I was getting pressure accumulating in my ears again. So I had fluid behind my ears. So I was getting that pressure, and then he said that's why I can't get my voice back. Part of it.
So this is this is somebody from California. This is Young Kim, and no, it's not a rap name. It sounds like a rapper. Now we have Young Kim, and she's going to tell us she's a Republican from California. And yes, there are some Republicans there. Believe it or not, there's a lot of the state is red. Mm-hmm. It's just the big cities are all blue, and it crushes. Yeah, right. Everybody lives outside of
LA.
Yeah,
that's about it.
San Francisco. So there you go. Here, let's listen to Young Kim.
Millions of Americans from all backgrounds see digital assets as one of the many options to take wealth creation into their own hands. Unfortunately, U.S. is falling behind compared to other countries, and we have yet to establish a viable regulatory framework for digital assets. HR 4763 established a much-needed digital asset market structure framework that provides clear rules for digital asset firms while providing robust consumer protections. Thus, I believe this bill is very fit for the 21st century. The FIT 21 Act would enable innovation to flourish and the United States to lead the world in the development of digital assets. The EU, the UK, Hong Kong, and the list goes on, have established or are in the process of establishing a regulatory framework. The development of technologies and new financial services tools should be taking place here, not elsewhere.
Right.
I urge a yes vote on HR 4763, and with that, I yield the balance of my time.
Very well said. I mean, again,
That was very well said. It puts the power back in the hands of the people.
Very, very succinct.
Yeah. And by the way, does Biden, the resident, veto FIT 21 if it passes the Senate? It's a kind of a split vote, same 28 votes. 53% say yes, 46% said no. So that's how it is. Look at that split, 53. I find that to be very interesting. Yeah, that we're gonna have such a split vote like that. Half, almost like half and half. Nobody really knows. And I have a feeling that does it pass the Senate? Maybe. There might be a lot of someone was saying, what was the it passes the Senate if there's 88 billion or 8 billion to Ukraine.
Yeah. Sad but true.
That'll be the fat. Thomas Brock is on his way to Florida in a couple weeks and heard that the beaches here are nicer than Galveston. Depends, I guess, where you're going. So
it does depend, yeah.
Going like if it depends also what kind of sand you like. I don't know what Galveston has, but if you're on the Gulf side, you get like that powder white, flowery sand that if it gets on you, you can't get it off.
Yeah.
But the good thing is if it's like really, really hot, it doesn't get hot. The sand doesn't get hot. Then if you're on the East Coast, south, like Fort Lauderdale to Miami, beaches are crowded, but it's like lava. You walk on the sand.
It is pretty hot. Yeah, well, don't forget it tends to be a little bit hotter on the Atlantic side.
But it's nice over here. I kind of prefer this coast better.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends, Jeff. It all depends. All right, let's now listen to this is John Rose from Tennessee. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of H.R. 4763, the Financial Innovation and Technology, or FIT, for the 21st Century Act. As a member of the House Financial Services and Agriculture Committees, I am proud to support this bill, and its product is a joint effort between both committees. I commend both Chairman McHenry and Chairman Thompson for working on this bipartisan legislation. This bill confronts the litigation-heavy approach towards digital assets of the Securities and Exchange Commission, led by rogue regulator Gary Gensler. Chair Gensler has blown past the SEC's statutory mandate and instead forced investors and companies to operate in the dark, thus risking the United States standing as a world leader in digital innovation. The Fit for the 21st Century Act will allow the U.S. to reclaim our place as a world leader in innovation and provides clear rules of the road for cryptocurrencies. I urge members to join me in voting yes.
Yes. Yes.
Boy, you nailed Gary Gensler on that,
Yes.
did you not, Jeff?
That was
He
awesome.
totally nailed Gary Gensler in a big, big way. And how about Bill Huizenga, Republican from Michigan? What did he have to say? Again, a lot of this isn't all of it, but
Thank you, Chairman McHenry. And Mr. Speaker, since First Cryptocurrency Network was created nearly 15 years ago, the rules governing the digital asset ecosystem have remained unclear. As I learned while serving as chairman of the Capital Markets Committee, regulators have been using opaque guidelines and regulation by enforcement. Meanwhile, Congress has been working on a bipartisan path forward. Digital assets have the potential to revolutionize payment systems in the United States by allowing financial systems to become more efficient and more accessible to consumers. By passing a comprehensive market structure framework, responsible actors will now have greater certainty, and consumers will have greater protection from bad actors. Mr. Speaker, our markets are the envy of the world. We must not cede any ground. American innovation is a critical element of job creation and economic opportunity here in the United States. Congress must look to preserve this competitive advantage and not let it leave our shores. The FIT 21 Act is a historic first step, and I urge all of my colleagues to support this legislation, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Yields back the balance of his
Max
time.
RP.
There you go. He yielded it back.
Finally, someone from Michigan that makes sense. The only person so far.
Yeah, that's a very good assessment as well.
Yeah. Now here's what's interesting, Chip. So as we're watching this kind of unfold, one of the cool things when you get onto this Congress.gov site is that you can see the bill they're voting on, and we kind of talk about this the FIT 21, but you can also see related bills. And when you dig into the related bills, you start to see kind of this the onion kind of being, the petals of the onion being drawn back here. But look at this. This is a bill. It was just presented on the 21st. So this one gets passed. This one gets introduced to provide a system of regulation of digital assets by the CFTC and the SEC, and for other purposes, providing the consideration of the bill 5403 to amend the Federal Reserve Act to prohibit the Federal Reserve banks from offering certain products or services directly to an individual, to prohibit the use of central bank digital currency for monetary policy and for other purposes, and providing for consideration of the bill HR 192 to prohibit individuals who are not citizens of the U.S. from voting in elections in the District of Columbia. So that's the next bill that is kind of like piggybacking as a result. Then you drill a little further and look at additional related bills, the 192 and the 5403 that were referenced. The 192 is to prohibit individuals who are not citizens of the U.S. from voting in elections in D.C. You have the affiliated bill 4763, which is the FIT 21 that we've been talking about. And then we have HR 5403 that was introduced on September 20th of 2023, came to committee. It's now sitting in the Rules Committee over here. And so this one is CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, which is the bill prohibits a Federal Reserve Bank from offering products. And we kind of got into that because the next bill kind of drills it a little further. But here's the point is that, you get all the bills and you have all these related bills that kind of stem off of it. And man, it looks like, we're ramping things up a little bit. We go back to related bills and then kind of circle all the way back to that 1243. But that's kind of how things get interconnected a little bit. We also don't see a lot of fat on those bills. But we'll see what kind of traction those get. But 4763 or 5403. No, which one is it? 4763. That's the bill. That's it.
A lot of numbers there, Jeff.
Fit for the 21st century is HR 4763. There we go.
There you go.
All
Here's
right.
Frank Lewis. A couple
Now
more.
we got it.
More. Just to keep it going here. This is Frank Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The United States has no meaningful federal regulation of the digital assets markets, and the attempts by regulators to apply existing laws are arbitrary and unclear. The fact is, the status quo does not work.
Nope.
Without a clear federal framework, we fail to provide adequate consumer protections and forfeit our international competitiveness. This hurts U.S. consumers, investors, and the entire economy.
Boom.
This is why this bill is so important. The legislation establishes a market structure framework that accounts for the unique characteristics of digital assets, adhering to the core principles of the Commodities Exchange Act. U.S. consumers are actively participating in the digital asset market, and we should ensure they are protected from fraud and scams. This bill does that. I'd like to thank Chairman McHenry and Chairman Thompson for all their work on this legislation, and I urge my colleagues to support the bill. And I yield back.
Yields back. There you go.
Back.
Again, every single one of these is very succinct. They didn't carry on for a long time. They keep kind of drilling the same points home. And he talked about investor protection there. and he talked about, companies like being, being able to know what the clear rules are. And I think this is a lot of the problem. And it's like you just hear from the Democrats and they just don't get it, Jeff. How about Dusty Johnson? He's another Republican out of South Dakota.
Question.
In Congress, we're supposed to be in the problem-solving business, and
yes.
my oh my, do we have problems in the digital asset space. In recent years, we have seen the FTX debacle, a debacle that happened under the regulatory regime that some members apparently are so enamored with, a regime that does not work today. We have seen chronic and disruptive overreach by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And we have seen innovation and investment flow overseas. Mr. Speaker, they seek markets that are more predictable. We are the only G7 country that hasn't figured this out yet. And so clearly we have problems. I would submit that FIT 21 is the solution. We, for more than a year, French Hill and I, working with Chairs McHenry and Thompson and members on both sides of the aisle, have worked hard to together craft a solution that increases regulatory predictability, that increases consumer protection, and that will foster innovation. I know that success has many fathers and mothers, and so I do want to thank Misters McHenry and Thompson, Hill, Emmer, Davidson on the Republican side. But I do need to especially recognize my colleagues on the Democratic side of the aisle, particularly Mr. Nickel and Ms. Caraveo, who have invested countless hours in getting this bill right. They have been joined by Himes, Crockett, Torres, Soto, Gottheimer, Davis.
Aaron Soto.
This bill, this success would not be possible without their good faith efforts, and I thank them. With that, I yield back.
Nice.
He did a very good thing there, Jeff. Like he really,
great.
yeah, he did a nice thing by talking about the support that they got. And there was bipartisan. There was, and he even said that they're the ones that helped get it right. I think that was really important.
Yeah, that's solid.
It's like, every one of them, like, I don't know if they compare notes, but they're similar, but they're all kind of like coming at it with their own sort of angle there. And I like what Dusty said about that. He hammered like, Gensler or the SEC. He didn't say Gensler specifically, but he did talk about the SEC. And then finally we have, I don't think, do we play Mike Flood yet? No, Mike Flood out of Nebraska. I don't think so. Let me see.
I'd like to focus on one particular aspect of this bill. It is responsive exactly to the problems in the digital assets market that we've seen over the last couple of years. In the aftermath of...
Jeff, if I get old, please, if I wear giant glasses like that, would you just come up and punch me right in the throat? Please.
That'd be perfect.
Just punch me right in the face, would you please? Giant glass. What does it look like? Giant glasses. I can see better if I got giant glasses on. That's weird.
The collapse of FTX in 2022, we need to ensure that there are investor protection rules that prevent anything from happening like that again in the United States. Under the regulatory structure created by this bill, FTX would not have been able to register. FTX would not have been able to commingle customer funds that hurt so many of their investors. Some of my friends on the other side of the aisle have spoken about protecting investors. The great irony is that they are opposing a bill that would do just that. If you believe in investor protection, if you believe we need to respond to the disaster of FTX, then we need to pass a bill that would prevent the next FTX. The status quo will not work. It did not work in 2022, and it will not work today. With that, I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back.
Yield back.
That was well.
Yield back.
Man. There you hear it. So you see the program. There's some others on the other side that kind of came together. Kind of been surprising, but is there enough? And is there enough to happen in the Senate? I kind of worry about, what's going to happen there too. I mean, we'll have to see what. Yeah, it's kind of up for grabs there, Jeff. I don't know how it's going to pan out. But we'll have to just wait.
But yeah. So I just before we kind of move in through that, I want to put this one up. Only because it's John Kennedy, and he's talking. There's a hearing going on in the Senate Banking Committee on the financial regulator oversight, and we're talking about the FDIC. So this kind of goes to kind of faith and trust in status quo. The one thing that we saw Lynch and some of those others that are fighting for the status quo of the SEC, there's people that are fighting to protect the FDIC and some of these other entities that are supposed to be there as a backdrop kind of protector, mechanism. We don't have to listen to a lot of it, but let's see if this plays and you can hear it.
Okay.
Oh, you're not going to be able to. Shoot.
It's like I'm freezing, Jeff, at least on my side. It looks like I'm freezing here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're getting all frozen like all of a sudden out of nowhere.
It doesn't even say I have a bad connection. That's what's really strange. I don't understand what might be my internet. I don't know.
Internet. Here we go.
Doesn't even say
See if you can hear this. See if you can hear this. Hang on. Volume up.
Louisiana's recognized.
Yeah, it's recognized.
I hope Senator Al Franken is watching today.
Jeez.
If it weren't for double standards around this place, there wouldn't be any standards at all. Mr. Grunberg, have you ever heard the expression, a fish rots from the head down?
Yes, Senator.
I understand I listened carefully to your testimony. Do I understand you to assert that you believe you're the person to clean up the FDIC?
I do, Senator.
Do you also believe that Elvis is alive?
Not to my knowledge, Senator.
Do you also believe in Bigfoot?
Oh, Yetis.
Have you read this report?
Yes,
sir. You've been the chairman of the FDIC 10 of the last 13 years, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And you've been there for 20 years almost, haven't you?
Nearly, yes, sir.
And this sleaze has been going on for decades, has it not?
I think the report makes that finding, Senator.
Did you read the part of the report where one of your supervisors described one of your young and female employees as being, quote, like a grizzly bear with tits?
So this goes on and on and on into this all.
It's brutal to dislike both sides that wouldn't get rid of this guy. I don't know why I'm freezing. This is very strange. I don't even have
yeah. I just had to put that up.
Weird. Look at this right here.
Do you think Elvis is still alive?
No, sir. I believe Bigfoot. How about Yetis? I believe in Yetis.
The guy's been there. He's been the head for 13 years, and he's the guy to clean it up and fix it. Wait a minute.
Well, look at this.
13 years. 13 years.
Donald Trump's campaign now accepting crypto. First major party nominee to do so, right? And as we kind of pop over here, you can see, check this out.
Exactly.
There it is.
Charged with sexual.
Yeah. Trump, make America great again. Now accepting crypto. And there it is right there. Look at and even Dogecoin, right? I mean, crazy, right? Solana, Ethereum. So this is a huge deal. Nice. So you can just donate right there. Bam.
All the cryptos.
Yeah, 47.
You can use all the crypto.
All the cryptos. Look at that. How cool is that? Now accepting crypto. President Trump stands ready to embrace technologies that will make America great again.
That's right.
But let's read the whole thing. So demonstrating President Trump's success as a champion of American freedom and innovation, we proudly offer you a chance to contribute to the campaign with cryptocurrency. Saving the nation from Biden's failures requires your support. As Biden piles regulations and red tape on all of us, Trump stands ready to embrace the new tech that will make America great again. You got to love that. And so who's the first crypto president? Looks like it's be Trump. And
it's Trump. It's Trump.
Interesting, right there, Jeff. How do you like that? I saw I generally like the guys over there at where the heck is it? Let me see. Oh, over at Bankless, I kind of like those guys. David Hoffman over there. I thought this was a weird sort of a thing from him here. You want to read that first?
Wow. Yeah, so James brings up an interesting point, but we also don't have normalcy in the presidency right now. But he's saying that that it should pass into law when a party has the Senate presidency. Senate doesn't usually pass a bill unless the president will sign it. Otherwise, it makes the boss look bad. Be surprised if it's vetoed, but that means that does it pass the Senate? Do they let it go through the Senate? Does it get delayed? How long does it sit in the Senate? Still needs to come back to the House after it goes through the Senate. Do they pack it with fat? Then does it come back? What exactly do they change? Or do they just stamp it, pass it, it's gone, and then it gets to the desk and this crazed resident over there vetoes it?
Yeah.
For any other reason than it was passed and it was something that's going to be positive legislation for the people, because obviously they're not looking out for the people.
Well, they're not good at reading the tea leaves. So that's I always like to say, let them. They haven't been able to see that in the swing states. There a new report just came out that said 20% of in each one of the swing states, up to 20% or more own crypto. So it's become a major issue. They can't read the tea leaves because that dogma is so strong, that leftism. They live in a little bubble where they think everyone thinks like they do. And here's David Hoffman from Bankless said, hey, I'm not going to celebrate Donald Trump's accepting crypto donations. It's trivial. Thinking it's embracing the industry is naive. Trump has not shown any true commitment to crypto. So far, we're just another cow for him to milk. And then, of course, I put this in there. I'm like, yeah, probably nothing trivial. What he said, if you support Trump, if you're in favor of crypto, you better vote. You vote against Biden. Biden doesn't even know. If you ask Biden where he is, sir, he doesn't know if you're for or against crypto. He's like, what's that? Get me off the stage.
That was a good one. That was really good.
He has no idea. But look, he's very much against it. The Democrats are very much against it. And I say this, a lot of people are very much, probably more people in this group right here are for it. And I'm fine with it, but I want to make sure it's good and everything is solid. And if you want to like crypto in any form, it comes in, there's a lot of different forms. If you're in favor of crypto, you better vote for Trump. That's what he said.
Yep.
But now you got to know that David Hoffman is, anybody that has the .eth in there, they're maxis, right? They're ETH maxis and they're all frizzled and stuff. And like, this doesn't even make sense, thinking it's embracing the industry. So now he's accepting crypto, his first major candidate to do so. He's, I'm sure that Robert Kennedy Jr. probably accepts crypto too, but I don't know. Is he really running for president? I don't know. I mean, today Elon Musk responded to one of his tweets saying, and he called out, he said, hey, I know Donald Trump is brave enough to get on a debate on X, but would Biden? No, come on. They'll probably use a voice that somebody speaks to, like AI, to answer the questions.
This is such a stupid comment, though.
He doesn't know where he is. It's a dumb comment. This is like, very cool. Trump is not showing a true commitment to crypto. So far, we're just another cow. Well, he did, so you got to pay attention. But
another cow for him to milk. I mean, it's so narrowly focused to say that when you have, and you could say, hey, both sides, look for support, but the left, the blue team, is just notorious for milking it and getting every last drop.
Bro, what is going on with the OGs tonight?
Man,
Bubba
Shipes, man.
My God, the crypto camper. He was Bubba Shipes before he was the crypto camper. Another love. Great show. Love you guys. No, I can't believe it's OG night. You got people going back 5 years that were with us like the first 100 subs. When Jeff and I were doing this to nobody, and we're still doing it to nobody. So,
here's
X. You guys are nobodies. I'm just saying, but it's not.
We don't advantage of the cold
enough of the opium. The XRP is the reserve currency. Believe it. Right. We don't do enough of that, Jeff. We need to do more of that stuff.
Buyback 2025.
It's going to be 7,364,865 with 26 cents. It is, Jeff.
That's right. The MAGA coin up 3,691%.
There you have it. That's all we have, guys. That's it. That's an hour. The hour went by just like that.
An hour flew past. I can't believe it. Yeah. And here I am taking advantage of my cold for that RFK impression. Going on a couple of weeks of RFK impression. Well, my voice comes back in little spurts, which is good.
Sounds better than it has in a while, though. So that's good.
It does, yeah. Yep. So little by little.
Horrible is your voice, man.
Man, it was so brutal.
Core.
That's brutal, especially when I got to talk all day.
Yeah, I know. I get on the phones and talk. All right, guys, that's all we have tonight. We will see you Saturday morning. See you guys on the next one. Shout out to the specific. Well, there's a bunch of them, man. Anyway.
Blue mirror too.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Well, we had to go through it. Yeah, we passed. We'll see what happens. Listen, I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I don't know, man. I just
WOI.
Just knowing how things work, unless now what should happen is the Senate should pass it, but the Senate's going to screw it up. They're probably going to add a bunch of garbage to it.
I'm sure they will.
And I believe the way that was loosely written, a statement by the White House was, yeah, we are willing to take a look. If they don't get their amendments in there, if they don't get this garbage in there, if they don't undo what this says, then yeah. But the line's been drawn in the sand. It's an election cycle, and the people who are into crypto are going to remember, especially in the swing states. So that's it. That's all we have, Jeff. We are out of here.
Then there was that. Eleanor posted that from the White House. Said that FIT 21 in its current form is not going to be good. Not enough.
There you go. Told you, Jeff. It's how it works. There was another one too where I was going back and forth with somebody like, no, man, don't get your choke 2.0 is done. No, don't celebrate it yet. Listen, I'm optimistic. I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I kind of know how the Senate's going to destroy this bill. And if it does go through in its current form, it's going to get vetoed because the blue party cannot read the tea leaves, and they will be shocked and surprised what happens. But
so.
The way that John Deaton is picking up steam in Massachusetts, yeah, some of it might be related to crypto, but a lot of it are about the issues. This is an issues race. Okay, there's the border. Deaton's running on the border. He's running on healthcare. He's running on
actual issues.
There's a lot of it's an issues campaign, and people will vote for the issue that most favors them. So, and the the Republicans are going to kill grandma and run her off a cliff because they're going to take away your Medicaid. Yeah, that worked in the last 45 years, but it ain't working this time, man. It's people remember 3.5 years ago. We're not that old, it's not like it was 20 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And when Ronald Reagan said, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
And the answer is no.
No, you are not better off now. All right,
4
guys,
years ago. Hell yeah. Let's take this out with a song. We just sent this song. We're going to take us out, and then we'll play the outro. This is good. Good old days. Good old times. And being out there late at night, serenading.
Wie einst Lily Marlin. Wie einst Lily Marlin.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.